to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Studying and shit. Going.
It's all over. It's now, senior week, so I got graduation on Saturday. So.
Yay!
I think we should do a show on Friday to supplement. You working?
I'm working. Okay. Yeah.
You want to do it on Sunday then, or are you working then too?
I work doubles on Sundays, bro.
Oh fuck.
Dude, I'm back to my normal bullshit. My Saturday days off and shit.
Well, we'll figure out another time to do another episode.
I guess. I mean, we might just have to do one show this week.
Yeah, if that's the case, then that's the case. But
that sucks. But it's, we got to make time when we can make time anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
But thank you guys so much for the support with episode 50. I know I put up the clip of the ending just recently.
Mm-hmm.
But again, thank you guys so much for supporting this little show as we just fucking goof around and try to make something out of this, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I hope you liked that thumbnail that I was just browsing shows and trying to find places where we were both smiling. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to pick some part from from that thank you and then just go with that because I ran out of time and I got lazy.
Fair enough.
We might keep the show fairly short.
Yeah.
We'll see how the round one talk goes and how the round two playoff stuff goes.
We'll keep it short, and then I know I'm going to go off on one of the series.
Right. It's going to be like
two.
Yeah. It's going to be an hour and 50.
Yeah. Because we were planning to go like 20 minutes on like round one talk, and we ended up going like 120 minutes.
I want to give a shout out to our boys in Union Blue real quick. Because we got 9 guys at the World Championships this year.
Yeah, Tex has been playing well. I've seen, saw some highlights from Elvis.
There's Texier, there's Elvis. Bemstrom was one that we forgot about for whatever reason. Peaks and Blankenberg.
Mm-hmm.
KJ and Cole in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Try saying that 5 times fast.
Is Bjorkstrand doing it for Denmark?
No, but Kukin's doing it for Czechia.
For Czechia?
He's really? He's a Czech guy, yeah.
I thought he was Swiss. Interesting. I did not know that. I thought,
dude, some guys and their nationalities, I don't want to sound like a.
That's interesting.
But you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Kukin's
right, because he's from Switzerland, but like you can play for like another country.
You can play for another, okay.
Because I listened to a thing with Foligno where he talked about like how Nick always does it for USA, while Marcus does it for Canada.
Oh, they do have dual citizenship. You're right.
Because of where they lived and everything like that. So maybe that's the case for him. I did not know that.
Yeah, no, Kooks is playing it for the Czechs.
Okay, so
Bemmer's in Sweden.
A Swiss defenseman who is of Czech descent.
Okay, that makes sense.
So there we go. All righty, look at us learning things.
Hey, yeah, learn something new every day, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Tex playing for France because Viva la France.
Yeah.
Elvis carrying the burden for Latvia, and he was like, I loved that interview where he was like, we came in with a mission and we accomplished the mission.
Mm-hmm.
That's just classic Elvis for you right there, right?
It is.
And you gotta love how he could just say that with the biggest grin on his face, and yet he's just the most like stoic quote.
Yeah, he's I've noticed for one of the smaller market teams in the National Hockey League, and a guy who hasn't really been in the league for that long, he's become, I think, a fan favorite for a lot of people who aren't Blue Jackets fans.
Well, I think I don't want to say the tragedy helped in that.
No, it's his personality, but also seeing how he's overcome it, how he's handled it, how he's been so open about it,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the kind of person he is and how caring he is.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people just want to give him a hug. You know,
Yeah,
that's the
I
best way I would
honestly,
describe
yes,
Elvis.
that's exactly what it is. It's
Yeah.
like Elvis
There's
is
some
like,
goalies you just want to give a hug to, you know,
Jack
like
Campbell.
Elvis, Jack Campbell, Jeremy
Absolutely.
Swayman.
Jake Ottinger.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, yes. Yeah, guys like that. So I'm happy for Elvis. And I'm really happy for Tex getting
yeah.
back out on the ice and getting to play and looking as good as he does. That's
Yes,
big.
especially with the broken finger and then whatever tragedy happened to him.
Yeah, we're not sure what was going on there. It's
We
not our
all
business, but I hope
know.
he's okay.
Yeah, it sounds like he's doing okay, which obviously is good. Didn't hear much about Peak and Blanks because Blanks really hasn't just been skating that much for the team, and then Peak's being Peak. So it's not like we need to hear much from Peak.
Right.
As far as the Canadian boys go, though, they're getting some time, and I like this.
Yeah, that's because they're really, really good.
Cole got a point or two on his 19th birthday.
Nice.
Oh my God, he's only 19. We can't say he's only 18 anymore.
Yeah, he is 19 freaking years old. And he's going into his second year in the National Hockey League next year.
And Ken Johnson's going into his first.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
19 going on 20.
These are good players, man. I'm excited about them.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice KJ had a little lisp until his exit interview, and I was like, "Oh,
really?
This guy does not sound the way I thought he would."
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't heard him like really talk.
If you watch his exit interview, he kind of has just the slightest lisp.
Right.
It's like, okay, it sounds like he's constantly got some chewing gum in his mouth or something.
I mean, maybe he does. Chewing gum. Depends on the brand you get.
It's become a habit for me to just chew it for like an hour every other hour at work.
Yeah.
And I always just get like an extra spearmint thing. That's just my go-to or whatever.
My problem is I always forget it in the car.
And then the sticks go bad.
Yeah. That's tough.
Well, because I know gum doesn't like expire, but still, when it gets like soft and
like all like mushy, you're like,
yeah. But yeah, shout out to our 9 boys at the Worlds. Hope they're doing okay, and you know, it sounds like they're at least performing. There's a lot of former Jackets that are also performing fairly well.
Yeah,
guys like Seth and yeah. I mean, good for those guys. Like
exactly.
So, round one was something.
Round 1 was relatively predictable, but a lot of fun.
5 of the 8 series went to 7, so that was fucking amazing.
I think that many series would go to 7 games, but I don't know about your bracket. I went 7 of 8. I saw Danny went 8 of 8.
I was gonna say, okay, I wanted to tell you this. Shout out to the Danny Smith. This girl, first of all, we love you.
Yeah,
she's the coolest chick on the planet. And second of all, I saw this. I found out on Snapchat from her story.
Yeah, same here.
She went perfect in the first round. Not only did she get all the teams right, she got the number of games right for every single series.
I was blown away.
And then Wayne Gretzky.
She's unbelievably smart. But no matter how smart you are, it is so hard. No matter how smart you are to get the number of games right for every freaking series.
Dude, she did better than Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
Wayne got all the series
Yeah,
right, but
he went 8
he
for
only
82.
went 14 for 16.
Yeah.
So Wayne was
Jeez.
this close to it, but he's no Danny Smith.
Yeah. You know what? You know what's interesting that Wayne Gretzky had as a part of his bracket? He also has the Blues beating the Avalanche.
Oh, does he really?
Mm-hmm.
Let's blast through. Okay, so
let's start with the West because the West will be a lot quicker.
Yes, the West will be much quicker. I said Avs in 5. You said Avs in 6.
Yes.
It was Avs in 4. And that just made me feel bad for
Wow,
Connor
that was
Ingram.
unwatchable. The whole Nashville did not belong. Oh my
That just made me feel so bad for Connor Ingram.
Yeah, well, I feel bad for a bunch of different.
I want to give Predators their props because, like, Yossi did his thing. The two
Yossi was unbelievable.
Joey and Dutchie.
I mean, you'd love to have seen him in the playoffs. I mean, it sucks that he was out.
Poor Juice. But guys like our old Flames and Dutchie and Joey having some really good resurgence seasons that they needed.
They desperately needed, especially Joey.
Oh, especially absolutely. Joey. Because Joey was on the fourth line with them for a while.
Yeah, it was a real struggle with him sometimes, and it was a big season for him. Hopefully, it continues into next year. But
Matt Duchene scoring 40 goals.
What?
Matt Duchene scoring 40.
Yeah, and he's pretty decent in the series, but what are you gonna do when you just don't have goaltending in game 1? What are you gonna do when you don't? I mean, Connor Ingram was really good in game 2.
He was the story of game 2.
I mean, he wasn't really great in games 3 or 4. And I don't want to like blame him and be like not good enough.
No,
but, like,
because it's just not like
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
It's the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah. It's Nathan McKinnon, it's Cale Makar, it's Mikko Rantanen, Gabe Landeskog, Nazem Kadri, Andre Burakovsky, who's won a cup.
Yeah, it's Jack Johnson. It's
it's Nick Abba-Kubel.
Yeah, I mean, they're loaded. We knew that they were going to win.
Dude,
didn't think it would be that quick, but it was.
When they got Josh Manson, and the guys like Josh Manson and Nico Sturm didn't even contribute that much.
They were good defensively. That's all they needed to be.
Pretty much. And then Darcy and Pavel were Darcy and Pavel, I guess. I don't even know if
that was the interesting thing with Darcy. With the.
I don't even know if Francois got that much time. I can't even remember. Because this series ended so quickly that it was like, did they just ride Darcy? Okay.
No, Darcy. So Darcy was in the series for games 1 and 2, and then he was in for game 3. But game 3, he left because he got poked in the eye.
Ooh.
And they said he was going to be okay and that he could have started game 4, but since they're up 3-0, they were just safe and went just with Francois. And the series is over. They've had a ton of time off. So Darcy's going to be back in.
Good. But yeah, poor Nashville, because they were such a crazy ride this season. And I feel like that's pretty much how the story of Nashville's been for the past like 5 years, including the finals appearance, because it was like they pulled that rabbit out of their hat, and ever since then it's been kind of up and down with them.
It's been very up and down.
You've had consistent performances from guys like Yossi, from guys like Joey and a Dutchie, or
I don't know if I would say
well, maybe not, but like the guys to track.
They've been up and down because
you lose Pekka Rinne to retirement. Now you say's your guy.
You lose PK Subban in that process. Obviously, this year you lost Ryan Ellis, but that's the crazy thing. Nashville was a team that, with the Ryan Ellis trade, kind of seemed like they were not heading in a rebuild direction, but retool direction.
Mhm.
We're going to try and get a little bit younger. We keep some of this core around, but we want to get a little bit younger the next 1 to 2 years, and then go from there. I wasn't sure if they were going to make the playoffs, but you say Saros was as good as he was, and they did.
And
And I know
Roman
that
Yossi was as good as he was, and
they got swept in the first round, but I don't know if you could call it a failure of a season, because I don't think a lot of people expected them to be in the playoffs considering where they were.
they felt like your typical first wild card.
Yeah.
They felt
Yeah.
like your typical first wild card, but they ended up in obviously the second spot and just drawing the shorter end of the stick with the Colorado wagons.
Man. We spent a lot more time on this series than I thought we were.
A little bit. Blues beat the Wild in 6.
That was the one.
That was one that you called, right?
That I nailed. Yeah.
You nailed that one.
Very proud of nailing it. I like him. Look, and here's the thing. I like the Wild, and I like how they're constructed.
They're a very
Sometimes
good team.
Rock draw in the first round.
They're a very, very good team. They're a fun team to watch.
Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate for them because of their cap situation with buying out Parise and Suter.
Mm-hmm.
They're now in a tough spot because
this is when that kicks in after next year, right?
I'm not sure if it kicks in this upcoming season or the season.
I'm pretty sure it does. I'm pretty sure it's this upcoming season.
It's going to kick in some point in the next 2 years. I don't know if it's this upcoming season or the season after that.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is it's going to kick in. So your window's not large. And that's unfortunate for Minnesota. That's why you went out and you got Marc-Andre Fleury. And I don't put the series on him.
No, he played fairly well considering the circumstances.
And you put in Cam Talbot, and Cam Talbot's not much better. I don't think it's either their fault. I just think St. Louis is a really good team.
Yeah,
I mean, the most underrated team in hockey.
They're still not that far removed. Like, it's getting further and further away from their cup that they miraculously won.
You had the bubble, after you won the cup, you had the bubble where Binnington wasn't nearly as good. You lost some pieces, and then you end up losing your captain in free agency and Alex Pietrangelo. So the year after that, you've got to make some moves. You're still not as solid. You're missing Tarasenko. You barely make the playoffs. You get the Nashville treatment. You get swept by Colorado in the first round. This is the year Tarasenko's healthy. You've revamped your entire defense. Not only, Binnington has been playing well in these playoffs, but in the regular season, it was Husso who got you here.
Yeah, Ville emerged.
The big thing, man, is 3 things. Robert Thomas development.
Oh my God.
Jordan Kyrou development.
Oh my God, those 2.
And Pavel Buchnevich.
Pavel was actually a really underrated move that they did make.
It was the most underrated move the entire offseason. Sammy Blais and a second.
Well, because I feel like because we follow an Eastern Conference team, we didn't pay as much to what Pavel was doing. Specifically.
I've been paying attention this entire. I love what he does.
Oh, he's a great player.
And not to mention,
and then like you said,
they also got Brandon Saad this offseason.
Yes, stealing Saad from Colorado, who they now get to play.
Yeah. I like how they're
really, really good move. And yeah, they're built super well. We know Doug Armstrong is a really smart GM.
You're a really good GM. You got a good coach in Craig Berube. And this is, you go out, and Husso was great in game 1. You shut him out, but they figure you out in games 2 and 3. And this is what you can do. Billy Husso is really good all season long, but you still got a guy who won you a Stanley Cup in Jordan Binnington. And they said, this is the call we're going to make. We're down 2-1 in the series. We're not that worried. We're just going to make a slight adjustment. We're putting Binnington in. And they attacked.
So that sets up Colorado St. Louis as your second round series. We call it the Brandon Saad Bowl.
Yes. There's some fun matchups here.
And then who do you? A fun question for you: who snaps first? Who goes off the deep end first? Jordan Binnington or Nazem Kadri? Because Nas has kept his temper in check. And we know from the bubble and from the other, the past, I want to say, I can't remember if they played each other last year, but the hit that Nas laid, that was just a really bad hit on Justin Falk.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a really bad, awful hit.
Do you know my honest answer to that question? Neither.
You think they both stay fairly clean?
And you know what I just realized is kind of funny. You know what other bowl this is? Eric Johnson.
It is an EJ Bowl. Oh my God. First overall pick of the St. Louis Blues.
Mm-hmm. But in all seriousness, for these two guys, Nas has been a hell of a lot smarter.
Yes, he's kept his temper
in check. But I think the other thing is, I don't know. Have we really seen Binnington do this too often in the playoffs?
You're right.
I think he's smart. I think he's smart enough to keep it in check in a series that he knows that he's going to be incredibly crucial in. This series, if St. Louis is going to come down to Jordan Binnington.
Right.
So I think he'll keep it in. And here's the other thing. It's not that they don't have any bite to their game. I think they do. But Colorado's not the kind of team, really, I mean, outside of Kadri, to try to get under your skin with all the talking and barking after the whistles and stuff like that. They just play.
Right. A lot of them just kind of keep their head down. And
it's just, we're going to go out there and we're going to shut you up by, taking the puck into your offensive end, working you around for a little bit, and then putting it in the back of the net.
We're going to shut you up by shutting you down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, I don't think that that's going to be an issue for either of these guys this series. There's going to be some pushing, some shoving, some roughing, maybe a
typical scrap nonsense, you would think.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a situation where either one of these guys loses their mind like they have in the past.
I would hope at the very least Nas keeps his cool. Because if he has another suspension, he already got the book thrown at him for the Falk thing.
Mm-hmm. Here's the good news for Nazem Kadri. If you go to free agency and you sign a long-term deal for a lot of money with the Philadelphia Flyers, you will not have to worry about getting thrown out or suspended in the playoffs anytime soon.
If you sign with the Chuck Fletcher will do it too. I wouldn't put it
that for a second.
I wouldn't put it past.
He's already pulling out the checkbook. Just preparing. How high is this number going to be? Yeah, no, that's going to be a fun series.
No, we can't pay you more than Risto. We just can't.
We'll pay way more than Risto. Are you kidding me? Risto's only 5.1.
I know, which is the weirdest part, that he's even making that much.
Yeah. He should be making nowhere near that amount of money, but
Anyway, back to round one real quick. Gretzky Bowl, Oilers on top of that, 7.
Yeah. I thought LA had that in 7. I like LA and how they're constructed.
Sucks that was Dustin Brown's last game, though.
You know what? Let me tell you.
It's a bitter send-off for a guy like Dustin Brown.
Because I'm excited about the Battle of Alberta. But I gotta say, I thought the Kings played pretty well throughout the course of the series. I was stunned by how invisible everyone was in Game 7. Jonathan Quick is the reason that game was not 7-0 Edmonton.
When your MVP of Game 7 is Trevor Moore, there's a bit of a problem there, isn't there?
And Trevor Moore was really good for the Kings this year, but like,
Oh yeah, we've
I
talked
mean,
about how
like-
good he's been. Like, we talked about him in the Campbell deal, right? And how
yeah,
that was
I
a win for
I
both
don't know.
sides. Right? It's just
I watched that game, and through 40 minutes, I was like, I know they're only down one, but why does one feel like they're down by 4? And it's because they aren't doing anything. And forget about look, it's not his fault that they played like shit in front of him. Jonathan Quick did everything he could.
well, yeah.
But do you want to know when I knew that game was over? It's not when they went down 1-0 because they're down 1-0. It's when I noticed the player who shot the puck into the net was Cody Ceci.
Cody Ceci.
When I saw that it was Cody Ceci who scored the goal, I was like, "It's chips for you, man. You're done."
No, Cody's looked good, which
Is Cody Ceci all right? He looks really good.
Cody looked good.
Duncan Keith wasn't unwatchable.
Darnell Nurse was being Darnell Nurse. He
Mhm.
got a suspension for something. I can't remember exactly what it was.
That was the headbutting.
Oh, it was the headbutting? That's right. I forgot to watch that video back
Which was
because apparently it's
really strange.
It's almost as funny as This Is Biting.
Yeah.
Apparently the video is almost as funny as This Is Biting. But I mean, the only reason I say almost is nothing will beat This Is Biting.
Right.
Connor and Leon doing Connor and Leon things. Nuge doing his thing.
And do you want to know what the difference maker was?
Mike Smith.
As much as it pains you and I, the difference maker between Edmonton winning a playoff series and not.
Evander?
It's Evander. Just the ability that he brings to be able to play on that top line and bump everybody down to bring more depth to the team, and how he played in the series. He was the absolute difference in the series.
It's safe to say that
I don't
Evander
think
Kane's
Edmonton
probably
wins
the
the series
best.
without Evander Kane.
I think Evander Kane's the best left winger Connor's had yet. Is that safe to say?
I would say so because Leon's not a left winger. He's a center who sometimes plays left wing with him if they play together.
Normally he plays right though.
Really? That's interesting.
I'm pretty sure.
But whether he's on the left or right, all that matters
whatever.
is Leon is a center. He just sometimes will play with Connor.
Yes, exactly.
Pure winger playing with Connor McDavid. Evander Kane is by far the best he's had.
At least on the left side, yes.
Who on the right side has been better?
I mean, I wouldn't say anybody's been better, but I'm saying just because EK mainly plays left.
Right. So I would just say, like we're saying left winger, I think he might just be the best winger he's ever played with. Because again, Leon's not a winger. He just sometimes plays wing if they play him together.
And yes,
same with Nuge.
Yes, he's still developing, kind of.
Yeah, and I like Yessi and I like Kyler, but neither of them have the immediate offensive impact and
that an
chemistry
Evander Kane does
with that Evander Kane has had.
The nice thing, I feel like it's just better because Evander's kept his shit together.
And we say that he's kept his shit together, but that's kind of the reaction we had when he was a Shark, wasn't it? Oh, I mean, he's a Shark now. They gave him that extension. He's kept his nose clean, and then things come out. He's
well, it's only a matter of
time. I don't want to give him a blue ribbon for keeping his nose clean for 6 months.
I'm not going to give
his
him
nose clean, or do we just not know things?
I'm not going to give him a total benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I'm going to give him the smallest good noodle star ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him the smallest good noodle star I can.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's kept himself out of the media for off ice reasons and just focused on playing.
Yes, we'll give him that credit. Not for not doing anything stupid, but we haven't heard anything.
Right, exactly.
That's what it is. We
Yes.
haven't heard anything.
Can we talk about how good Mike Smith's been? Because that was one thing that you mentioned off the top.
He's
Was
been all
what
over
Mike
the place.
Smith were we going to get?
We had
And
no
we've
fucking
gotten a
clue.
good Mike Smith. This guy in game 7, a 938.
Yeah.
At 41 years old.
938 save percentage. 229 goals against average.
Almost scored.
Almost scored. Got out in game 7. Yeah. Mike Smith was really good. How long that lasts, we don't know. But at the end of the day, the Oilers won a first round series against a team that they should have beaten. But, you know, at the end of the day, they've advanced in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Hyman won his first playoff series. And they're moving on. And, you know, because of the next series we're going to talk about, we've got quite the treat.
Calgary and Dallas. We got horses in America and horses in Canada.
I'll say this about this series, okay?
It started
Generally
boring.
speaking,
It
whether
started very, very, very boring.
yes. But what I want to say is whether it's NHL, NBA, or even sometimes Major League Baseball, although that's, I would say, probably the smallest out of all these. Generally speaking, the absolute best player in the series, their team will win.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not the case.
Jake
because
Ottinger
Jake
was the
Ottinger
best
was
player.
by far the best player of
Yes.
the series.
This guy he set an NHL record, didn't he? In that game 7,
Mm-hmm.
it was 64 saves on 67 shots.
Yeah.
It was the most amount of saves in a game 7 loss.
Yeah. This poor guy did everything he could without looking it up. Can you guess what his save percentage was in the 7-game series?
Through the whole series.
I'll give you his goals against average. His goals against average was 181.
Oh, Jakey. Attaboy, Otter. Wow. Can I go over under on a 930?
No, I'm not giving you the answer.
You're not going to give me that?
I'm not giving you any hints.
936.
He had a 954.
Oh my God.
A 954, and they fucking lost.
Oh.
Here's my question to you.
That breaks my fucking heart.
Here's my question to you.
That breaks my heart.
Is that series loss more a result of Calgary is good and Jacob Markstrom is good? Or is it more of a result of, man, Rick Bowness should probably be fired?
I'm going to take the cop-out answer and say yes. But, I mean, listen. We knew from the first 2 games, we were like, okay, we knew we were in for a boring series. We started getting more goals. There were a lot more games where they scored, where teams were scoring 3 and 4. We got, we got 6-goal games in here. Game 7 ended up being, the 3-2 overtime win, which how good have some of these overtimes been, man?
They've been really good.
These overtimes have been wild.
Real quick, second guessing game.
Okay.
Jacob Markstrom had a 153 goals against average.
153. Oh,
what was his save percentage?
Will you give me a hint this time?
It is over 930. I'll give you that.
Okay. I'll say 941.
943.
I was close.
Yeah.
I was close. Those two, I called it the Battle of Jakes in that because, I mean, come on.
And
But,
you know what? They're both big guys.
They're both huge. No, dude. Jake Ottinger is 6'5". This dude is a fucking mammoth.
And Markstrom's 6'6". These are two big Jakes who are both really good, and they were high picks too. Markstrom, 31st overall pick. Ottinger, I want to say what, 27th, 28th, 29th, something like that. I
think he was also late first round. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, these bigger goals. And here's the thing that's impressive about them. When you look at goaltenders like you look at a guy like Robin Lehner.
Mm-hmm.
Lehner's gigantic.
Lehner is
huge.
Yeah.
And that's his strength is he's so big. He can, if he's out far, he can really cut down angles and not give you much to shoot with. Or if he wants to stay back a little deeper in his net, the same way that Mike Smith usually does.
Yep.
There's different versatility and stuff like that, but Lehner's not really agile. His skating's not great. So he's not great with like breakaways and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the wingspans on both Jacob Markstrom and Jake Ottinger give them so much versatility in that. But
they're also really mobile goalies.
Yeah, they're mobile. They're agile. There's so much that they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, man, 70% of the world is covered by water, and the other 30% is covered by Jacob Markstrom and Jake Ottinger.
No, it's covered by Andrei Vasilevsky's pads. We'll get to him in a minute.
But seriously,
as much as we've talked
entertaining series, but
as much as we talk the goaltending, we need to talk the skating and the scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that we thought were going to show up didn't. I did not expect Trevor Lewis to have more points than Tyler Toffoli this series.
Toffoli did show up in Game 7.
So he showed up where it counted. That's nice.
He showed up where it counted. And
that top line,
because of how good the goaltending was, I find it hard to say certain players didn't show up. When scoring is as scarce as it is in this series, it's hard to look at numbers like that and be like, this player wasn't that great. Because it's like, I don't know. I didn't get to see all the games.
Because
maybe they were pretty good, and every chance that they had, they just got robbed. Like, I don't know.
Right. When you have games that are this tight and this low scoring,
mm-hmm.
When you have
it's harder to judge based off of that.
Low event games can still be fun to watch.
They can be fun. Their problem is it's not that, and this is just being as honest as possible.
Is this digging at the coaching again?
Just that it's low scoring.
Mm-hmm.
It's that it's low scoring, and it's the late game.
It is the late.
People stay up and get juiced for an Oilers game because of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and if he was on a 10 because they know, this is going to be high fire.
You get to see these guys fly around.
Nobody wants to stay up an extra 2-3 hours at 10 o'clock when they're exhausted to see a 2-1 game.
Right. And
it's not to say that it's not fun or entertaining. It's just they have the disadvantage of being so late.
Right. Yeah. It's a shame. And I mean, it was a really, really good series. And honestly,
100%.
My bracket wanted Flames, obviously, because I just want a Battle of Alberta, which we got.
Mm-hmm. And this is where
the beating heart for Jake Ottinger, man.
I feel for the kid, but let me tell you something.
What do they do?
I'm excited for him.
Do they bring? What do they do?
It's easy.
What?
So Ben Bishop's done. Okay.
Bishop's done. I know it's Ottinger's net now. They could bring back Wedgwood if he wants to come back. Just as
I let Wedgwood walk, and I just say, you know what? We'll just keep Hudobin for one more year because he's got 1 year left on his contract, and that's that.
If he can play again, cool. But it's obviously you're sticking with Robo. You're sticking with Hintz. You've got Suter back there for whatever reason.
Well, it's still good defensively.
You got Miro, obviously. Hakanpää's okay.
He's good. Another guy who's good defensively, but also a black hole offensively. The big question is, do you keep Klingberg?
Klinger,
and I'm not sure he even wants to be back because he requested a trade earlier in the season.
Yeah, I don't know if you keep Klinger. I don't know what you do with him, and then I don't know what you end up doing. How do you fix the problem with the big three with Tyler and Jamie and Rads? How do you fix that? You can't
trade the Jamie Benn contract. That is frankly not an option. It is an untradeable deal.
We know Pavelski's going to show up again. He's been showing up. Mm-hmm. This is some of the best hockey Joe Pavelski's been playing in his career.
Do you trade Tyler Seguin?
And he's 37.
Who has the money to take on his deal?
Nobody really right now.
Your best move, because of term, I think he's only got 1 year left in his deal, right? Radulov?
I think so.
Retain half the deal. Retain half the contract and trade him. And then your next year is going to be a very, very influx kind of season. And then the year after that is where you really figure things out.
Those two dudes in Klinger and Radulov are really the only moves you can make if you're Jim Nill.
Yeah. What I'm sad for Jake Ottinger, but I'm happy at the same time. I'm sad that he didn't get to move on because of his efforts, but I'm happy. That dude is going to get paid.
He's a special one.
My prediction: offer sheet.
Ooh.
He's going to get an offer sheet this offseason.
Offer sheet season's been fun. We know just from the past 2 years with
Do you want to know who's going to give
with
it to
the
him?
Habs and the Canes, we know exactly what's going down with those two.
Do you want to know who I think will give it to him?
Toronto?
Chicago.
Ooh.
Team that's in division. Desperately needs a goaltender.
Yes, absolutely.
And you are either going to get a goaltender who is really good, or you are going to force a team in your division to pay out the ass to keep them.
I mean, the only reason I said Toronto was because of the Jack Campbell connection, but
I would say that they're in such a tough cap situation. I don't even know if they can do it.
We'll talk about the Leafs in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Dallas lies next year. But in the second round, we get ourselves a Battle of Alberta.
And
we've been waiting for this shit.
This is the definition of sword against the shield, isn't it?
You have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl against Daryl Sutter.
Daryl Sutter. And don't get me wrong, the Flames can score. I mean, look at their top line.
Look at those those three were magic for a series that didn't go much of anywhere goal scoring wise for a while. Those three carried the burden like they should have. Johnny Hockey. Matt Kachuk was doing his thing. Elias Lindholm, underrated as always. Excuse me, that's Selke nominee Elias Lindholm.
Yeah.
We know that's going to be Bergeron's award again anyway.
Yeah.
They should just rename the award the Patrice Bergeron Award at this point.
They will in a couple in like 20 years. They will.
Dude, I'm so excited. The Battle of fucking Alberta, man. This is, I think, is this the first time that we've seen it?
Yes, it's the first time in 30 years, something like that.
I think it was like 91 or 92 was the last time we've gotten a Battle of Alberta in the playoffs. You're right.
So I'm just going to say it right ahead. Flames in 7.
This is going to be a fucking war.
This is going to go 7.
This is absolutely going 7.
I could see the Oilers winning it. I could see both teams winning it. I can't see either team winning this series in 6 games or less.
No.
This is going 7, and I think it's going to be Calgary.
We know what kind of Mike Smith we're getting at the playoffs thus far, and he's been very good.
Markstrom's been even better.
Yeah.
But we also like this is the battle of really good goalie in the playoffs. Really good goalie in the playoffs. Also, unbelievable forwards.
The 2 best forwards in the league with Evander Kane as
and then arguably the best line in hockey.
Yeah.
In, Gaudreau, Kachuk, and Lindholm.
And both supporting casts are really, really fun too. You have guys like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Tyler Toffoli and
Milan Lucic Bowl.
And it's the Luch Bowl.
It's the Luch Bowl.
Oh my God, it's the Luch Bowl.
It's the Mike Smith Bowl.
It's the Smith Bowl.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
What is it with these 2 teams and always trading with each other?
And Vancouver too.
And Vancouver. So many Canucks end up as Flames or Oilers.
If you play in BC or in Alberta, you will be a part of another team from that. At some point, it's inevitable.
It's just a rotating wheel. Because remember, Cassian came from Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
To Edmonton. Dude, Cass and Matthew.
Yeah.
We get to see these guys go at it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a blood feud that's been stagnant for a little while, and now we get to see these 2 go at it again.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think as a lot of series usually come down to, it's going to come down to goaltending. And I trust Markstrom a little bit more.
The thing that worries me.
And the other thing, I like Jay Woodcroft, but I trust Daryl Sutter too.
I would trust Daryl Sutter more. The thing, we haven't really addressed the defense because let's be real.
Calgary's got the edge.
And both defenses are kind of snorefests.
Yeah.
In terms of names.
Yeah, I mean, Calgary,
you have underrated guys
really
like Rasmus Anderson.
Chris Tanev is
really probably their biggest name.
Noah Hannafin's really good.
Oliver
Shillington had a really good season.
Shillington had a good year, you're right.
Nikita Zadorov was outstanding defensively this year.
Good for him.
He's a physical guy too. He's a guy who's going to be relied on heavily to really set the tone around the net with those net front battles and how physical.
Wear down some guys, yeah.
Wear down some guys. That's big too.
And then the Edmonton defense we know is suspect, but we have Cody Ceci and Duncan Keith, the guys we make fun of all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But Keith's been there. Keith has been there on these cup runs.
Yeah.
So he brings the experience that this team
he has an experience to him that some of these other guys don't. But at the same time,
you also have Darnell
Blake
Nurse.
Coleman.
And Coleman
brings that experience to the Flames.
Yes. Which Coleman was also really quiet in the first round. That was strange to me.
But he's also like I said, I find it hard to judge because of how unbelievable the goaltending was. When opposing goaltender has a .954 save percentage, it's hard to score.
I'm very, yeah. The defenses on both sides are a little suspect. We know there are guys we like.
I don't know if I don't think Calgary's defense is suspect. You know, I forgot to mention Rasmus Anderson.
I mentioned him right off the top. Anderson, very
him.
underrated guy.
He's
because
incredible.
you were talking about Tanev.
Yeah, so, Tanev, Valimaki, Zadorov,
So Valimaki, yep.
Hannafin, Anderson. Hell, I mean, if you're only giving him,
it's a good defense.
Like 14, 15 minutes a night, you could rely theoretically on the third pair on Eric Branson at times to be physical. Another former Canuck. Tyler Toffoli also played for the Canucks too.
Yeah. Yep. All that's left is for those two to go to the Oilers next year.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one thing that does worry me, especially because here, let me see this. That starts tomorrow. So Avalanche and Blues are starting tonight as of recording this, and Battle of Alberta is tomorrow. What worries me is I heard this morning that Leon Draisaitl played through a high ankle sprain.
I didn't notice it, so I think he's fine.
I'm sure he's going to run like he always does.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you kind of got to keep your eye on that.
Yeah. Here is...
Because I can see, personally, it's only going to take a good Branson, a Zadorov, a Kachuk, nasty move to fuck that up. And
well,
then
also, and it's, it doesn't have to be a dirty play, but it could also just be he's skating really fast. He makes it, he just loses.
Even just he loses an edge or some incident happens.
Yeah. This series, I said, coaching and goaltending will have to. Those are the two most important elements. The third most important element, the young guys who aren't relied on, so much as far as leadership or contributing offensively, they're going to have to step up because the top two lines are going to be great.
Yes.
To me, the X factors offensively for both teams, I need to see Kyler Yamamoto step up for the Oilers. And for the Flames, I need a guy like Dylan Dubé to step up.
You need guys like Dubé and Mangiapane to start showing up more.
I'm not so concerned about Mangiapane.
Well, no, I'm not concerned about Mangiapane, but
it's the guys who are on your third line.
Yes.
Who are younger. Can you produce?
This is where the depth needs to start kicking in for guys.
Yeah, you can win a first round matchup by
riding the ponies.
Yeah. But if you have, if the horses are the cream of the crop, you can win a playoff series like that. It is hard to advance past the second round if you don't have depth.
Yes.
It is impossible to win a Stanley Cup if you do not have depth.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's going to be a fun and interesting series. I say Flames in 7. What say you?
I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to have to go with the Flames on this one.
Fair enough.
And yeah, Flames in 7 sounds right because we know this is going to be a war.
Yeah.
This one's going to be...
Here's the exciting thing. This is where I get excited because we're going to get one of two things. We're either going to see the Flames live up to their potential,
right,
and get to the third round, or we're going to see Connor McDavid
and Leon Draisaitl
round away from the final. This is win-win for hockey fans.
Oh, absolutely. This is huge. And you know what makes this even crazier, thinking about it from the Flames' perspective? Gaudreau's in a contract year too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all the people talking about Johnny Gaudreau in the playoffs. I don't know. I see, I think he's silencing some people. Big penalty shot goal, beautiful move on Jake Ottinger, and also the series winner in overtime.
It's funny how we forget about a lot of the guys that are going to be UFAs that are actually huge names this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny Gaudreau is one of those guys.
Talk about a guy who is going to make some money next year.
Dude, if you're Brad Treliving, you can't let this guy go. But how much do you shell
How much
out
are you willing to pay?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a tough one.
And we've already noticed from a few offers, at least rumored from other series, that these first low ball offers from the management side have really pissed some guys off.
Yeah, they never.
Like, I get that that's how that starts.
Yeah.
I get that's how that always starts. But some of these have been kind of slaps in the face to a lot of guys already.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to the East. Panthers beat the Capitals in 6. I had them in 5.
Yeah.
They still Samsonov stole one.
I picked that in 5 as well. Vanacek had a really good game in the series, but then he had a bad game, so he was pulled. Samsonov was great in the series. He deserved better.
Ovi deserved better.
The Capitals gave it everything they got, but you saw at the end of the day that they're a very, very flawed team.
They also didn't have Tom.
It would have been a different series if they had Tom, for sure.
They did not have Tom Wilson, and
that was a big loss, like a gigantic loss for them.
Forget what we know his reputation to be right now.
Yeah, everybody knows his reputation, but there is no denying. If you're a rational person, you look at the impact he brings is huge.
That is a kind of guy you want on your team in those moments.
Yeah. TJ was unbelievable in the series. He did everything he could. He was incredible. But yeah, it was a situation where it's a team that's given it all they got, but they just don't have enough. And a team that was overwhelmed, that hasn't done this often. Actually, as a matter of fact, they've never done this.
First time since their finals run before we were born,
winning a series. So the Panthers are a significantly better team than Washington.
That's the crazy thing, right? Is this is their first series win since before either of us were born.
And like I said, man, you just see you see that they haven't done it before. Now who knows? Maybe now that they have done it, that weight is off their shoulders.
They get some confidence. They can play looser with a little bit more swagger.
They can't play the way that they did.
But you can't
expect to beat the Lightning.
No, you can't play aloof going into this.
Yeah, no chance. No chance.
Sure, you got your first round demons out of the way. That's nice. We all know that, we can already see it in everybody's head. We know they want more. Claude Giroux wants more. Alex Barkov wants more. Aaron Ekblad wants more. Jonathan Huberdeau wants more.
Yeah.
Everybody
Mackenzie Weegar, all those
more.
guys. That's what, Bobrovsky, that's why he went
Bob
there.
Was fucking, I miss our guy. God, he was so good.
Carter Verhaeghe. Carter Verhaeghe was unbelievable, especially in Game 5. My God, he was everywhere. I'm
excited to see what he does against his former team.
They're an incredible team, but man, they just, and who knows, maybe it's not just the impact of a team that, struggling with the fact that they haven't done this before. Andrew Burnett's also never done this before.
That's right.
So who knows, maybe now that that's out of the way, they can kind of just get back to what they do. But
Burnett needs to be able to breathe.
Yeah. I'm concerned from what I saw in that series. on the Florida side. I know they won, but they got by on the skin of their own damn teeth against a team that they should have basically they should have done to the Capitals what the Avs did.
What Colorado did to Nashville? Ooh.
Kinda. Isn't that what we expected? We both predicted that those series would go in 5.
Right.
Maybe they don't have to sweep them, but I mean, maybe you lose a game there. But man, you win the series 4-2, and the 2 games that you lost, were kind of unacceptable. And the 4 games that you won, none of them were really impressive.
Well, we now know that their regular season play isn't going to carry over.
It can't. They won game 5 the way that they won so many games this regular season. They're down 3-0. And, it's great that you have that mentality that you're never out of a game and you can be down 3-0 and you can come back and win, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you were down 3-0 to Washington at home.
You lost 6-1
on the road.
You let them play your game.
Man, I know it was a closer game, but game 1, you couldn't get up for game 1 of the playoffs when all the narratives are around you and you had the opportunity to shut everybody up.
You let the Caps play your game in that 6-1 loss.
Yeah. There was not a lot of fight in that loss. There was a lot of concerning. There's a lot of concerning elements to it. And the positives from it are the things we already knew about the team.
Right.
They found a way from 3-0 down to win game 5. They found a way down by a goal in the last 3 minutes of game 4, holding the goal early, did give up an empty netter, even though they're close. They find a way to tie it, and they win it in overtime. That's all good and great. But we knew you could do that.
Right.
The question isn't, can you do that? Can you go into a game against a team like Tampa Bay and beat them 2-1?
Right.
I don't think I know Tampa can do it. They just did it.
They just did it. We'll talk about the Leafs.
I don't think I think Panthers are out in round 2.
Yeah, maybe. I have a decent man. I know these teams hate each other for obvious geographical reasons, and obvious hate from last year with the realigned division and everything.
Yeah,
because that was really the only other time those two have played each other in the playoffs was last year.
Yes.
So there are guys from last year that came back and are going to be hungry for more.
Yes.
They're going to be hungry for revenge. This is going to be crazy.
All right, this is the series I feel like we'll spend the most time on.
Do you want to talk Leafs Lightning now?
Let's keep it in order because that's what we've been doing. Because it allows us to preview the next series, obviously.
So Leafs Lightning?
Yeah.
Cool.
God,
I feel so bad. I feel fucking awful. Dude. It hurts my soul. As much as I'm smiling.
Yeah, let me tell you.
As much as I'm smiling, this
for
hurts.
Anybody who is a Toronto fan that is watching, I am kindly representing Toronto Blue Jays. Very fun team. Be sure to enjoy them.
I forgot to put on my Mitch jersey before we started recording this. And listen, we're not going to talk about what just happened. You know what just happened.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the hockey.
Here's the thing that sucks about the Toronto Maple Leafs.
This was their best one.
Yeah.
This was their best chance.
This is what sucks about the Toronto Maple Leafs is context. Because they are one of the most hated franchises in all sports, specifically hockey. And a large part of it's due to the market and the fan base. So when they lose,
have your balance because it's so loud. Because the market is so loud.
And
the amplifications of the most beloved and the most hated are turned up 20-fold.
In terms of general fan hatred, like you don't have to be a rival of the Maple Leafs to not like the Maple Leafs. The same way that you could be a Seattle Mariners fan and hate the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
There's no rivalry between Seattle and New York.
No.
But it's the Yankees. The same way it's the Maple Leafs. You know what I mean? And a lot of that's because of the fans and the media.
The media specifically. I told my mom about this. The Toronto media, the Montreal media, and the Vancouver media, in terms of the Canadian markets, those three are the most brutal in the sport. Vancouver media can get vicious, man.
Yeah.
But Toronto media, and then Montreal, obviously, you're getting it in 2 languages.
Yeah. Jake, the Toronto Maple Leafs,
they're the biggest team in the sport.
With the back-to-back defending Stanley Cup champions.
Took them to
7 games and lost the 7th and deciding game by 1 goal.
Both scored by the same guy.
They're getting killed by everyone. And the only reason they're getting killed by everyone is context. It's because, let me tell you, they're getting killed because of the shit they did in previous years. They're getting killed because they're not getting killed because, they lost to Tampa. They're getting killed because they lost to Boston, and they lost to Boston, and they lost to Columbus, and they lost to Montreal. You know what I mean? Those are the losses they're getting killed for. Ain't no reason on the planet that people should be killing them for this damn loss. But they are, because A, it's, funny for people to laugh at the Leafs. It continues a meme, and it's because of the context. Man, Jake, if Columbus had these players and made the playoffs this damn year, had a guy like Austin Matthews score 60 goals, had a player
like Mitch Marner pulled 97 points out of the hat.
Go against the Tampa Bay Lightning, push them to set. Ain't nobody on earth dogging Columbus today. Not a chance.
No. Jay, you know why I started falling in love with this team.
They're a fun team.
They're a fantastic team. They have so much amazing personalities and talent.
I get the frustration for fans. But I have a question for you. A genuine question. What is the difference between losing in the first round and the second round? Everybody in Toronto who is a fan of the team is just like, man, they just can't even win. I just want them to win a series. Okay, then what? Okay, my question is, you beat Tampa. You lose to Florida. What's different? You're not that much closer to winning the Stanley Cup. Oh, let's say the same result this year, but last year they beat Montreal and lose to Winnipeg. You feeling better today?
Dude, we know
there's no damn difference.
We know there's fucking demons.
There's significant demons.
We fucking know there's demons, Jack.
I stand by what I say, in that if the Maple Leafs can win a playoff series, their chances to win the Stanley Cup increase tenfold, not just because they've advanced in the playoffs and there's less teams, but because they'll have gotten the monkey off their back.
Yes.
But we need to stop with this notion that everybody is off the hook because they win a damn series.
But we also
That
need to
can't be the standard.
let me offer you this. It being the Leafs defender of this series, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm not killing the Leafs for this. And in fact, nobody should.
No, because they showed.
If you be killing them, you kill them for last year. They deserved all the shit that they got last year.
Yes, absolutely. Last year was the only year that you could really say, like last year and in the bubble are probably the only years that you can genuinely say was kind of a choke job.
In 2019, you're up 3-2 in the series, but I hear you're saying that the two biggest ones.
Yes, this year Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Muzzin, Morgan.
Who had a bad series?
Nobody had a bad series. I think, dude, when you have guys like Colin Blackwell and Mark Giordano, Ilya Lyubushkin, when you have your depth acquisitions showing up for you, when Jack Campbell is doing his damnedest to dig his skates into that crease.
Jake. Andrei Vasilevsky.
And his giant fucking pads.
Let me ask you a question. Where do you rank him? Andrei Vasilevsky. Do you think he's the best goalie in the NHL? Where do you rank him? Is he 1? Is he 2? Is he 3?
I would probably rank him number 1.
He had a sub 900 save percentage.
I know. This was the weirdest thing to watch because they knew how to solve this guy.
They solved him, and it still wasn't enough. At what point? Like, what are you going to do? It's Tampa. This is why they're champions. This is why they've done it 2 fucking years in a row.
And this is why I'm personally, for friends online, for people like Steve, this is why, yes, this is heartbreaking for even someone like me, who, up until the last couple of years didn't really have that much investment in this team. But I still followed them. I still wanted to see them do well. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why this year, following this run the way I did, and I hate that the only game that I was actually able to watch was game 5. Because I just couldn't make time because of work.
I had the opportunity to watch every second of the series. My eyes were glued to the TV.
I'm just as heartbroken as everybody else, Jay. Dude.
It's incredible to me. Because like I said, all this comes down to is context.
There was an article in The Athletic. I can't remember off the top of my head who wrote it. I think it was Sean McAdoo. How much do you run back? How much do you run it back?
Here's the thing.
Soup wants to stay. Soup wants to stay. I don't know what his asking price is going to be. You gotta get him some help if you're gonna be able to get him to stay, because Peter Mrazek's not your fucking answer. I don't think Shelgren's your answer yet.
No, he's not the answer.
We know your big 5 is there, and if you want to make a major change to that, you can try to ask John to move his no trade clause. You can maybe see about moving Willie.
Jake, this upcoming offseason, projected cap space for the Toronto Maple Leafs is about $7.8 million. And with that $7.8 million, Kyle Dubas has the responsibility of Ilya Mikheyev as a UFA.
Right.
Spezza and Blackwell are UFAs. Now, if Spezza comes back, it's going to be for $750. That's not a big deal.
And listen, the whole thing with Spezza, I felt so heartbroken with his locker cleanout interview too, because he was like, I want to be here, but I have a lot of things I need to think about. This is the only place I want to play.
Yeah.
And he was, God, just reading the quote in text, I could feel the tears going in my eyes.
Kasha and Engvall are RFAs who are arbitration eligible. Giordano is a UFA.
I wouldn't mind keeping
UFA.
I wouldn't mind keeping Gio if he wants to come back for cheap.
Same, but that's a big if. And here's the thing, Jake. Here's my opinion on Giordano. He's going to sign a 1-year deal this offseason, and it's going to be for relatively cheap.
Yes.
But you have a competitor. What's stopping him from going back to Calgary?
I mean,
that's another tough thing. But also, here's another big thing. You got 2 RFAs in Sandin and Liljegren.
You do have those 2 dudes. You do have
on
those
top
kids.
Of Jack Campbell, who's a UFA.
You have your 2 defensive stalwart kids who you know you want to keep in your system, especially Sandin.
If I had to guess, Kyle Dubas is going to be tasked with finding a way to trade Peter Mrazek this offseason.
That's a big one.
He's going to have to attach an asset with it that will free up some cap space. And I think they feel comfortable enough with rolling with a Shalgren, a Woll, maybe even an Ian Scott as your backup next year. Have one of them win the job. And now your responsibility is bring back Jack Campbell on a reasonable contract, find his replacement.
That's at least
all the other moves you have to make. The best move that I can think that the Maple Leafs can do, because at the end of the day, you're not trading Matthews, you're not trading Marner.
Hell no. No, those 2 are your team.
It is virtually impossible to trade Tavares. A, he's got a no move clause. B, he's aging. He's got $11 million cap hit. That's not an option. Your only option is moving a William Nylander and doing so in a way that allows you to just build depth. And rather than having a 4-headed monster, we're going to have a 3-headed monster, and we're just going to try and
hit the rest of you with waves.
Because Tampa, look at their construction.
Yes.
Is it really a 4-headed monster? It's Point, Stamkos, and Kucherov. Cirelli's really good.
Hedman's fucking amazing.
Yeah, but I'm like, as far as forwards are concerned.
Yes. Right.
You don't need to have 4 elite forwards. If you have 2 or 3, that's great. But you have to have the depth. Mm-hmm. You have to have. This is the big problem. And I was listening to.
I don't know if you want to knock. Can I knock on wood for Edmonton's sake?
Yes.
In terms of
his biggest mistake is, I agree with Nick Kyprios on this. Do you know what his biggest mistake is? It's not signing John Tavares. It's replacing Nazem Kadri at $4.5 million with John Tavares at 11. There's no doubt about it. If they didn't sign Tavares and they had just kept Kadri, this team would not be much different, except they would have about
$7 million,
$6.5 million free.
6.5, 7, yeah.
That's an Alex Killorn or a Yanni Gord or a Nick Paul. That's what they're missing. Because of how they're constructed cap space wise, they're missing those X factor players that they can get at the deadline. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with what they did at the deadline. I like Giordano and I like what he brought. I like what he brought. I like those moves, but they were missing that Blake Coleman, that Barclay Goodrow.
Yes.
The Brandon Hagel, the Nick Paul.
David Kampf can only do so much for you there.
They're missing those guys. And now you are in a tough situation where you can try and run it back with this group. I think that this group could win a series. I think that they could make a deep run. I believe in the group.
I think
it becomes harder because now that contracts are starting to come up, you have to either replace these guys or extend them at a higher rate than what they were making before, which means you're not getting better. You're just keeping it together. And the thing that the Maple Leafs need to do is they need to get better.
I think here's what you do. You trade Mrazek. You free up that space. You free up the Mrazek space for Jack. And honestly, as much as I've loved the marketing aspects and the later play of Ilya Mikheyev,
walk.
You don't need him anymore. He's a guy you can let go.
Here's the three guys I think need to be traded this offseason, okay? One is Mrazek.
Mm-hmm.
Two is Hull.
Yeah, Justin's got to go.
And three, Kerfoot.
$3.5 million.
Because of the 3.5, I think you can try and find his replacement at a cheaper rate. And that will allow you some more flexibility. If you want to keep the core four together, if you want to keep Nylander, that's fine. If you're going to do that,
as a fan, I hate saying this, but as a guy that understands the business side of it, I get that.
Yeah. Kerfoot, Hull, and Mrazek need to go if you want to keep the core four together.
And if you want to get Jack back.
And here's the other thing. What helps you with it is it's easier to trade guys like Kerfoot and Hull because they'll only have 1 year left on their contract. So who knows? Maybe you can trade a guy with the guys with expiring contracts like that and get players with some term back.
And at the very least,
if you have to trade a prospect or trade some draft pick capital along with it, that's fine. But get yourself players like that.
At the very least, we know he wants to stay too.
Yeah.
Soup is, very, very willing to stick around.
And I would, if he stays in Toronto, I would expect him to get a contract that is similar to the Ullmark contract with Boston.
That makes sense.
Something like a 5x4. Maybe even a 5x5 if that's going to drive the number down, or 4.5x5, something like that. But you're gonna have to give him some money. You're gonna have to give him some term.
Might have to give him a little bit of an overpay, which is where I think your 5x5 idea comes in.
But because here's the thing,
we've only seen one full season as a starter.
This guy was drafted in 2010.
11th overall, but yes.
And it took him forever to develop. He's a late bloomer. So, Jake, this is the only time he is going to truly get to cash in and get the big bucks.
Yes.
If I'm him, I know he likes being in Toronto. He loves being a Maple Leaf man, but I'm not leaving a cent on the table for anybody. It's tough for the Maple Leafs.
Dude, it's hard to talk about this team because it's just like we know that this is the same story. It's just different guys this time.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Yeah. But Tampa Bay, 9 straight series wins is moving on. And I think that they will make it 10. They're going to beat Florida in 6. There's my prediction.
Let's talk about this then. We're going to make this one quick. Battle of Florida. This is going to be amazing. We already kind of addressed the Battle of Florida itself.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the Panthers probably won't sustain the 80s hockey.
Yeah, they can't.
Couldn't.
The Lightning have the edge in net. They have the edge on defense, even though I love Ekblad and Weegar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Victor Hedman,
Ryan
McDonough,
McDonough, Mikhail Sergachev,
Eric Cernak. Cal Foote looked really good in the playoffs.
Cal Foote looked really, really good in Game 7.
And here's the other thing. They got the major edge in experience.
Oh, totally.
The edge that Florida has is in offense.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, it's not significant.
It's not enough.
Don't get me wrong. The Panthers could put the puck in the net, but
it's going to be a fun series to watch if you like watching goals.
Yes. But just to remind people, who are looking at Florida's offense and drooling, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov,
Braden Point,
Anthony Cirelli,
Andre Palat,
Alex Killorn, Ross Colton,
Brandon Hagel.
Game 7 hero, Nick Paul.
Yeah.
Scory Perry.
God, how good is Corey Perry been?
What a fucking wagon.
This fucking team, I swear.
What a wagon.
What a wagon that these guys fucking started. What a wagon that our guys started out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Who knew that getting swept would poke the fucking bear enough?
And I've been seeing this a lot on YouTube and stuff like that, and a lot on Twitter. Man, Tampa Bay fans are so, from what I've noted, they're so complimentary of the Columbus Blue Jackets organization because they're like,
now?
Thank you.
It's
they're
weird.
like, thank you. We needed that.
I think
here's the thing, Jake.
The fans.
I don't think they are what they are if they lose that series in 7. You get smacked around and get swept
by the second wild
that
card
has
team,
led to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the 30-point gap in your series.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Columbus wasn't a typical wild card team, that we were going all in. We knew this from the beginning.
Yeah.
That it was a huge wake-up call for these guys. It was a wake-up call for the team. It was a wake-up call for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
These guys needed humbled.
Yeah. And it led them to do the things that they've done the last couple of seasons that have made them successful. After losing to Columbus, what did they do the next season?
I hate tooting our own horn for this.
No, and I'm not saying this is all Columbus. No, they helped. But they woke Tampa up, but it's decisions that Tampa has made and how they've constructed their roster. What did they do after losing to Columbus? In that offseason, they went out and added some depth on defense. They signed Kevin Shattenkirk.
Right.
Fresh off of his buyout with the Rangers. What did they do at the deadline? They traded for Barclay Goodrow. They traded for Blake Coleman.
Yep.
They signed Zach Bogosian. And they beefed up. The bubble happens.
Mm-hmm.
And they were an absolute menace in the bubble.
They were a Death Star.
And that continued. And it's still continuing. I don't think they're going to win it again this year.
No.
But they are going to win this series. I'm going to say Tampa. I'm going to say Tampa in 6.
I'll say Tampa in 7.
All righty.
Okay. We got to make 2 more first round series, and we're going to make the first round series parts really, really quick. Canes and Bruins went 7.
Yeah, and that series was home.
Is that not the way you just called it?
Yeah, let me tell you, man, that series is home sweet home. I mean, Yeah, I said Carolina in 7. I didn't expect it to be all home because I thought that it was going to be split in the first 2, split in the second 2, Carolina, Boston, Carolina. Didn't happen that way, but some interesting storylines in it. Antti Ranta got the net for most of the series. He was really good. Unfortunately, he was out for a little bit.
Kochetkov looked good.
Looked pretty good. But the interesting, considering how the series went.
I mean, we've talked about
I
this.
don't blame Linus Ullmark for his
right?
struggles in games 1 or 2. Because they were playing on the road and clearly they struggle in Carolina. But Jeremy Swayman, man, was really good in this.
Sway looked good. He's shout out to Sway going to Team USA for the World Championships now.
Swayman's gonna be so good, dude.
Boston
is spoiled as hell when
they got a lot of guys now that
went
are
from
going
Tim
to
Thomas
the
to Tuukka Rask to Jeremy Swayman. So yeah, no, Boston put up a hell of a fight, but there's a lot of questions this offseason what they're going to do. But Carolina is the team I had to win the Stanley Cup. I knew that Boston was going to give them everything they had, but I figured Carolina was going to end up winning the series, and they did. And I like what I saw from Carolina in it. I think that I feel pretty comfortable right now with that pick.
Carolina, Kakanyemi didn't really show up that much yet.
Well, Kakanyemi, and here's the thing,
he doesn't have to.
Fourth line. So like, it's if a guy's playing fourth line minutes, it's harder to show up because you have less time,
right,
to produce.
But you also
he provided the energy that they were looking for. I'm not so concerned about him, to be honest with you, because everybody else is producing.
Literally everybody.
Vincent Trocheck was great.
Vinny looked amazing. Aho looked great.
Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis.
Your 2 leading scorers. Offensive dynamo Jacob Slavin.
Yeah, Jacob Slavin's great.
Tony DeAngelo had Tony D, another guy that's
yeah,
he's calmed down.
I haven't heard anything from him this entire year.
It's been good to see that so far he's calmed down. We'll talk about it when we get to the round 2 series, because I don't think he's going to stay calm for very long.
Brad Pesce and Brady Shea looked good.
I keep forgetting they have Brady Shea for whatever
they have
reason.
6 former Rangers on their team.
Dude, this is going to be fun in the second round.
So let's get to it. I think the other series is a little bit more.
One quick question I have for you, though, in regards to Boston is, Patrice.
He'll be back.
I'm sure he'll be back, but how much longer does he have?
2 years.
Let's hope they can do something for him.
Yeah, 2 years. Wouldn't be surprised if he took a major hometown discount to help the team out.
I can see that.
Patrice
is that kind of guy.
The gem
right?
he is,
Rangers Penguins. The Rangers came back to win this one in 7, and I think
I have an opinion.
I know you always have some sort of opinion.
I don't want to make it seem like I am being anti-Rangers here.
Mm-hmm.
I am not trying to dog on them.
You did pick them.
I did pick them. However, I am not saying there's anything wrong with celebrating your team winning a series.
Mm-hmm.
You should be excited. You should be happy.
Yes, of course.
This might be the most pathetic 3-1 series comeback I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, when you have a guy
how
like
the fuck were you down in the first place 3-1 to Louis Domingue? Look, man, I'm not.
It's weird though too, because you have Igor Shesterkin on the other end with you guys, and you're like, "What? How?"
Let me read something out to you, okay? And again, I'm not trying to.
I know Jari was okay for Game 7.
Yeah, here is series expected goals for percentage. So 5-on-5 expected goals percentage for in the games.
Yep.
Compared for both sides. Okay.
Yep.
Game 1, 60-40 in favor of the Penguins. Game 2, 64-36 in favor of the Penguins. Game 3, 52-48 in favor of the Rangers. Game 4, 81-19 in favor of the Penguins. Game 5, 61-39 in favor of the Penguins. Game 6, 63-37 in favor of, you guessed it, the Penguins. And then game 7, 69, nice, to 31 in favor of
the Penguins.
Yep. 6 out of 7 games of this series, you got your ass kicked at 5-on-5. This is exactly what we've said all year about the Rangers. And this is not to be disrespectful to them, because this is their window is just starting to open. Yep. So I'm not saying they can't get better, and I'm not saying that they don't have a chance to win with this core. I believe that this is a core that can win. But just sheer arrogance I am seeing from Rangers fans coming back from a 3-1 deficit to a team that they had no business in being in a series with in the first place.
I don't want to say that's all just how Rangers fans are, but
it's a lot of them on Twitter. Here's the thing. Here's another thing. At the end of the series, so charting cumulative goals saved above expected throughout the series, it was kind of up and down for the Rangers.
Yep.
They ended up plus 1.2 goals saved above expected for the Rangers. Okay. So, and here's the thing, they were at 0, like 0.0 after game 6. So Igor Shesterkin in game 7 had a 1.2 goal saved above expected. He was phenomenal.
I'm just looking at the clock, and we need to try to choke.
The Penguins in 7 games minus 6.2 goals saved above expected. Jake, there's no fucking way in hell the New York Rangers win a playoff series with a healthy Tristan Jarry in net for the Penguins. There's no way playing the way they did. They had no business winning that series. And I'm not trying to take that away from them. It's just all I'm saying is good. You won the series. Good job. Enjoy it. No doubt. There's no way in hell you can play the way that you did in that series against Carolina and win.
They didn't have to worry about Sid for a game or two.
Yeah, they didn't have to worry about. Yeah, and I don't think it was a dirty play. I don't. He's looking down. He's like it's not like he was headhunting or anything like that. It was an unfortunate play. So, in my opinion, Jacob Trouba's not trying to hurt Sidney Crosby there. So, I don't want anybody to think that that's the case. But you didn't have to deal with Sidney Crosby for a game and a half. You didn't have to deal with Rickard Rakell for most of the series.
I felt bad for Rickard Rakell.
Yeah, you didn't even have to worry about goddamn Casey DeSmith for most of the series.
That too. Oh.
Forget about Tristan Jarry. You don't win the series if Casey DeSmith is in that. That's all I'm trying to say.
I was talking with a Penguins fan earlier today, and it's funny because I was talking with a Penguins fan in a voice chat earlier today, and she was like, "Fuck Casey DeSmith." I'm like, excuse me?
Carolina, I think Igor's unbelievable.
Igor is absolutely unbelievable.
He is going to steal a couple games for the Rangers, but Carolina is going to beat the Rangers in 6.
Question about Pittsburgh. So,
what the fuck do they
do? You know Carter's going to stay because you already signed him.
Yeah.
Evgeny Malkin, Christopher Letang, Brian Rust. Those are your 3 big worries. Brian Rust says he wants to stay. He has his family here. This is a place he wants to be.
Let me answer this question to you in 2 different ways. Here is what the Penguins will do. They are going to keep Evgeny Malkin, and they are going to keep Chris Letang, and they're going to let Evan Rodriguez and Brian Rust walk because they just don't have the money. Here is what they should do. They should let Letang walk. and they should keep Malkin. They should let Letang and Rodriguez walk. I don't think Rodriguez is a significant loss.
No.
They keep Malkin and Rust.
Dude, letting like Tang walk after that trio's been together forever.
I know. But Jake, what are you gonna do, man? You can't let Malkin leave.
No.
You need Rust more than Letang.
Well, then
Letang's defensive game has dipped. He's not quite as dominant as he used to be offensively.
who do they have that can take his place? Do we know?
Marino?
Marino, maybe.
I don't think Marino's a top pairing defenseman, but he's been pretty good.
He's at least enough, I guess.
Here's the other thing, man. We keep saying, like, when the hell are we going to see something from Liam Foudy? Like, when are we going to see him play?
Mm-hmm. Right.
When the hell are we going to see anything from P.O. Joseph?
When are we going to see Pierre-Olivier Joseph? You're right.
We're waiting for him. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is his time. Maybe they bring him up, this next year and they give him a role. But right now, as it stands, you've got Matheson, Marino,
yep,
Patterson, Dumoulin,
Marcus Patterson, yep,
Dumoulin, and Friedman.
And Friedzi again. Not to be the BG homer, but like Friedzi has done extremely well.
Small sample size, but he was really good this year.
I'm just
expand his role. Maybe see what he is. Maybe
I was telling Rachel in the voice chat. I was like, I don't care that it's in Pittsburgh. I'm just happy Friedzi's found a home.
They need to make a decision on some of their defensemen, and if it's acquiring a right hand shot through trade, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to do anything with P.O. Joseph, trade him.
Yeah.
Just trade him.
Just, yeah.
If
he's not a part of what you want, then why do you have him?
Give him an opportunity somewhere else, and in return, get someone that you think can help contribute.
Okay. Yeah. That kind of sums it up. Rangers Canes in the second round to round out the playoff series.
Who do you think's gonna win?
I'm gonna say Canes in 6.
Okay, so we're both on Canes in 6. All right. Should we do a quick bracket analysis?
Nice lock up there. We'll do that very, very quickly.
Yes.
We'll do that extremely quickly. I want to touch on
based on our
two
picks,
things afterwards, and then we're done.
Yes. So based on our picks, I have St. Louis versus Calgary in the third round. I think St. Louis is going to win that. And I have Carolina versus Tampa in the third round. I think Carolina is going to win that. And then Carolina is still going to beat St. Louis for the cup. How about you? Is your bracket any different?
Mine's busted all to hell.
So based on the series we're presented with, let's hear it. Where are we at for conference finals?
Conference final, I can still get Florida, Carolina.
Okay.
Out of mine. It would just have to be over the Rangers and over the Lightning instead.
Mm-hmm.
And we can still get Avs and Flames. It would just have to be over the Blues. And then we did get the Battle of Alberta that I wanted.
Right.
So I got one second round series out of my entire bracket.
Okay, so you said you think Calgary's going to win. Did you say Colorado's going to beat St. Louis?
Yes. I said Colorado's going to beat Minnesota, but yes.
No, but according to the series that we have in front of us. The actual series, Colorado's playing St. Louis.
I still think Colorado can beat St. Louis.
Okay, yes. So essentially you would have Colorado versus Calgary in the third round. Who do you think would win that series?
I'm still going with Colorado for my cup pick, dude.
Okay, so Colorado in the final, and you said Tampa and Carolina are moving. So who do you think is going to win between Tampa and Carolina?
My head says Tampa, but my bracket says the Hurricanes.
Okay.
So if I'm gonna stick with my bracket, I gotta go with Carolina to go through it all. But
Carolina, Colorado would be fun.
that would be a very fun cup final, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm really, really digging this, and I'm really like thinking as a hockey fan, Tampa.
Okay. So you would have Tampa versus Colorado in the final. Who
Would
do you think
that not be an electric fucking wow?
Yeah.
Would that not be an amazing final?
All right. Who do you have? Tampa versus Colorado.
I gotta go with Colorado.
All righty.
I'm sticking with my guns on the cup pick.
Based on where we're at today, you were picking Colorado in the cup, and based on where we're at today, I'm sticking with Carolina. Interesting stuff.
I'm sticking with the cup pick all the way through.
The C teams, they're doing well. Go Columbus.
Hopefully soon. Go Cole.
Yeah.
We do. I want to touch on these very, very quickly because we run super long.
Yes. As we always do.
As we always do. We always think we're gonna go like an hour and 20, and we end up going.
This isn't gonna be too
long. We're almost a 2-hour show again. It's fine.
Yes, we're like, this is gonna be too long, and then the two of us are like, this is what the Leafs should do in the offseason. Here's how I would construct them. It's
funny how we're a Blue Jackets podcast, but I mean, I did kind of become a Leafs fan more or less this year.
Yeah. All right. What are our topics? Let's go.
So, the Islanders out of nowhere, kind of firing Barry Trotz.
And this to me is a case where, the coach isn't leaving willingly, but they're making the decision to sacrifice a year or two of a great coach to supplement it with long-term stability with an assistant that they like as a head coach. So, Bob Stoops didn't leave Oklahoma. He didn't get fired, but he left so Lincoln Riley could be the coach. Urban Meyer didn't get fired, but he left Ohio State so Ryan Day could be the coach. So, Barry Trotz isn't leaving the Islanders. He did get fired, but this is this, same kind of thing. They view Lane Lambert as their Ryan Day, as their Lincoln Riley. So they're going to move him up. And I like it.
I know it's technically not the same. Doesn't this have
technically not the same, but
no. Does this not, and not to make it about the Leafs again, does this not have a Babcock to Keefe taste to it?
No, it doesn't. And the reason I say it doesn't is because the Leafs needed change when they fired Babcock.
Right.
The Islanders don't need change as of right now. They don't
need that's hard to say because there were rumors that Barzal and Trotz weren't getting along, and
I think it's different though. From the problem is it I have a tough time comparing Barry Trotz to Mike Babcock.
You can't compare those two and what they did because Babcock is a fucking psychopathic asshole.
Yeah. I just don't know because the other thing is it was performance related too with Babcock because he got fired in the middle of the season, whereas Trotz got fired
at the end
in the off season when they didn't necessarily have to do it.
Right. I think they just, for me, I think Lou, because we know how unpredictable Lou Lamoriello is, that's part of it. And they want to do what Columbus is starting to do. They want to start playing up tempo again.
Yeah. They've got a guy who's got those Trotz tendencies because he's been with them the last 11 years. He was with them in Nashville, with him in Washington, now with the Islanders. But mix a little bit more offense in there, play a little bit more up tempo. I think it's good for the Islanders.
It'll stay fairly familiar with Lambert. Yeah.
But it's interesting that kind of happened 2 years ago because the Capitals didn't fire Barry Trotz. They just
Trotz walked
because they didn't want to pay Trotz a lot of money, but also B, they like Todd Reardon as their coach long term. That backfired. So it's going to be interesting to see now because this has happened twice to Barry Trotz. If this backfires, that's tough.
That is very tough.
But he is interviewing right now with the Winnipeg Jets, and I think that's the perfect spot for him.
That would be a very good spot for him because I know he's He's technically now the head coaching sweepstakes.
Mm-hmm.
He's the the shiny new toy, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And this brings us to our next guy. Why did the Pete DeBoer thing not happen sooner?
Yeah, it needed to happen sooner.
I'll also say this.
Sooner, but
so let me just dig for this really quick.
And here's the thing, Jake. My problem isn't them firing Pete DeBoer at all. My problem is that they ever fired Gerard Gallant in the first place.
That is the bigger issue. That's the biggest issue because we've seen, and shout out to Urinating Tree for his Fear and Loathing in Vegas video, because for a shit poster, this guy is so smart.
Yes.
And so just cutting.
He puts everything into perspective really well.
Yes. And
for a guy who does videos for the sole purpose of making people laugh.
And sometimes not even that, because this felt so much more informative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This let you in on the fact that the fool's gold of their cup run in year one
has led to a lot of turnover, which will probably backfire.
And an actual casino mentality like their city, which is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But the big actual,
didn't go there.
Why doesn't Kane go there?
Yep.
But Pete DeBoer is out, and assistants Steve Spott and Ryan McGill have also been relieved of their duties. Now, I know a lot of Vegas fans were, they've been calling for Pete's head, but they've also been calling for Spott's head because their power play was god awful.
Do you know what Pete DeBoer needs?
And Steve Spott is one of DeBoer's guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if McGill is either.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, but Spott and DeBoer are, tied at the hip.
Yeah. Do you know what Pete DeBoer desperately needs?
A vacation.
He needs an agent like Alan Walsh to make a photo of him getting stabbed in the back.
And it's a sword, and it says McCrimmon or Foley on it.
And when McCrimmon gets fired by Vegas,
it's going to say Foley on it.
It's just Foley on it. It's just a chain that keeps continuing.
God. Dude, this is a team that's going into, going to have only their third coach in franchise history that's already become super unlikable. This team went from lovable underdog to complete assholes in a matter of 3 years.
They've made the playoffs 5 out of 6 years now. Right? 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 21. Or wait.
2020 bubble and 2021, I'm pretty sure. Yes.
So, okay. So 4 out of 5 years.
Technically, yes.
Yes, 4 out of 5 years they have made the playoffs.
Yes.
And they've made a Stanley Cup final in that time as well.
In the first time.
And
this is again. Yes, the conference final against the Sharks.
Yes.
Which was another huge blow to people's reactions to this team.
Yeah.
And how they whined over the Game 7 performance and having to kill off this 5-minute.
Well, that was in the first round.
Was it?
So Cup final, first round loss to the Sharks, and then conference final against Dallas, conference final against Montreal. So they made it to 3 conference finals. They're 1 and 2 in them. They beat Winnipeg the one time, made it to a Stanley Cup final. All this success, they're going into year 6 and they're on their 3rd head coach. and all the moves that they've made in between, trading for Tomas Tatar and then trading him for Max Pacioretty and,
getting rid of Nick Suzuki, signing Pietrangelo,
trading for Evgeny Dadonov,
trading for Robin Leonard, trading Marc-Andre Fleury, who was your face of your franchise from the beginning.
Oh my fucking Lord. They have made so many moves.
And they're the most brutal, cutthroat, heartless moves you can make.
Organization in doing it.
They don't care.
They don't care about people. And that's a major problem, and that is going to be their downfall.
Yes.
And nobody's going to feel bad for them.
No, no, hell no, not anymore. And the Dadonov thing not going off, like that, just another layer to the onion. The most
likable teams in hockey their first year to one of the most hated.
Within 3.
Yeah. So I don't
feel
bad for Pete DeBoer because of the way he's handled a lot of things. I don't feel bad for the organization for missing the playoffs. I don't feel bad for Jack. I don't feel bad for any of them. You know who I feel bad for? I feel bad for Nate Schmidt. I feel bad for Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yes.
I feel bad for those guys.
I feel bad for Ryan Reeves.
I feel bad for Evgeny Dadonov.
I feel so bad for Evgeny Dadonov. They could really use a guy like a Nick Suzuki or a Brandstrom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They could absolutely use a Nick Suzuki right now.
Yeah. As far as the coaching vacancy goes, though, like I said, Barry Trotz is the shiny new toy. Oh God, can you imagine Jack Eichel with either Torts or Trotz?
I could see him with Trotz. Trotz wouldn't be an issue. Him with Torts would be an issue.
You think Trotz wouldn't be an issue? He's an offensive dynamo center.
He's good defensively.
If he's good enough defensively, then maybe.
Yeah, no, his underlying numbers defensively are outstanding.
Okay, then maybe it wouldn't be as much of a bad
I don't think it'd be an issue.
Paul Maurice is out there still.
Paul Maurice is interesting.
Paul Maurice is out there still. Obviously, Joel Quenneville's out there, and he's not getting a job anywhere.
Oh, let me play you a song, Jake, on the world's smallest violin.
But yeah, Vegas. It's an awkward note to end this episode on, eh?
Yeah.
Kind of an awkward one. So as far as the next show goes, we're gonna have to wait another week, and I'm sorry. I know I said we were gonna try to do 2 shows a week until the playoffs were over.
Mm-hmm. But life. Do you want to still try and do 2 shows when we can until the playoffs are over? Or do you just want to go 100%. If we can do it,
try to do 2 shows. Okay.
Yes. It's just that, the last
life. Yeah. Life's happened. We've been going crazy. We're trying, and we're here for you guys still.
Yeah.
Keep sharing us around. Follow the Twitter. Do all the things.
Yeah.
Do all the things, baby.
Let's go.
Help us out, and let's see some more podcasts.
Let's go.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.